Konnichiwa everybody, welcome back. Now this is a bit of a delayed response to a video Stu Generation Pixel put out a couple of weeks ago, where he was talking about his favourite top 10 PS2 games, and that kind of got me thinking about what mine were really, and I thought I'd try and do a little video response, because I do quite enjoy doing these top 10 videos. It's all a bit of nonsense really, because you know, one man's top 10 is irrelevant to somebody else. It's just your opinion, isn't it? There's no right or wrong answers. It's all what's special to you at the end of the day. But I find that interesting, what different people think about different things. You know, something I wouldn't consider in my top 10, somebody else might think it's the best game ever made, and I think that's quite interesting. So, not going to mess about. I've got a few honourable mentions to start with. The first of them being, well, I'll start off by saying these are all games I physically own, and they're all, Stu based his list purely on nostalgia from memory, and although predominantly nostalgia is playing a part in my list, there are some sort of games I've played in more modern years that have crept in, but I'd say it's probably 75% nostalgia and 25% more recent games. So I'll just throw that out there. But yeah, the first honourable mention is all the like compilation discs you can get. You know, like this one for instance. You know, there's loads of them. The Taito ones. You know, there's Capcom ones. There's Intellivision ones. You know, all those compilations of old games, all amazing in their own way, and you know, awesome additions to the PS2 library, because they got so many different sort of more retro games on them, all fantastic. But I haven't included any of them here. You know, I'm just talking about standalone games really. And the second sort of honourable mention I want to make is all of the game. Obviously people know I like racing games, in particular Sega racers and arcade racers, so there are quite a few of those on the PS2, but primarily I don't think of them as PS2 games. They were probably Dreamcast games to me. So in that way, although they're amazing games and probably some of my favourites on the PS2, I haven't included them here because I think of them primarily as a Dreamcast game, such as this doesn't actually qualify in that sense, but you know, you've got 18 Wheeler, Crazy Taxi, all that kind of stuff. This is another honourable mention really. It's another Sega coin-up follow-up to 18 Wheeler, only on the PS2 actually. I did think about including it, but I thought I'd throw it in as an honourable mention. It is a cracking game. I think I prefer 18 Wheeler though, to be honest. That's why I didn't put it in my top 10, because I love 18 Wheeler. I don't think that's quite as good myself, but again, it could be nostalgia talking there. Then in a very similar vein, just to sort of get this out of the way if you like, most people would probably envisage my number one game would be Outrun on the PS2, and yes, it probably would be, but I don't think of it as a PS2 game. To me, it's either an arcade game or an Xbox game. Although I've got it on the PS2 and it's sensational, it's brilliant, easily the best game on the PS2. But in terms of this list here, I'm not including it because, as I say, to me it's either an arcade or an Xbox game. So that's why that's not in my list. So number one might not be what you think, if you were thinking it was going to be Outrun anyway. Then the last honourable mention, this is a game I've picked up in quite recent times, and I've not put enough time into it to determine whether it should be in my top 10 or not, so that's why it's not included. It's another Sega sort of coin-op racer, and we've got Initial D. Japanese street racing game mixed with like story elements. very good. There's quite a few editions of this on various systems, but I've not had this PS2 one that long to determine where I want to put it in my overall top 10, so for that reason that's not included either. Right, my actual top 10. As I say, 75% nostalgia talking here. This first one, number 10, is a case in point, because it's not the type of game I played really. I've had this from new, and I can't even remember how I came by it. But anyway, it's Step-In Selection. This is a Japanese exclusive to my knowledge. Like I say, I've owned it from new way back when, 2001 or whenever it came out. Could be earlier than that. It was quite close to launch, I think. But it's a dancing game, and it came in like a big box with a dance mat, which I have still got, but it's buried somewhere in storage. That's the dance mat. I'd never played a sort of dancing based rhythm game before on anything. The only sort of experience with rhythm games I think I'd had previous to this would be like a Dreamcast game, like Samba de Amigo. So I think that's probably why I ended up trying this, and I really loved it. I mean, there's not much to it, and I've not played it in 20 years, but at the time I thought it was incredible, just because it was different, I reckon, probably. I probably couldn't even string more than 2 or 3 steps together these days, but I wanted to include it because it's a bit unusual, and I really did enjoy it at the time. Right, number 9. This is a very recent sort of pick-up, if you like, an addition to my top 10, but I felt it was that good I needed to put it in, but I just crept it in at number 9. It's Tekken 5. I never really bothered with Tekken, to be honest, going way back to the PS1. I was always a Virtua Fighter guy, and that remained up until quite recently, and I started trying Tekken games and realising I'd been missing out. And then I picked up this a while back, and I was really amazed how good it was, to be honest. Cracking game. I'm not saying it's any better than the other Tekkens like Tag or 4, because I've not got 4. So we might be talking Tekken series in general here. I felt needed showing because I've realised how good this is. So that's why I put Tekken 5 at number 9. Right, number 8. In a similar vein, and I will say this top 10 of mine is very kind of indicative of my interests in games. Yours would be very different probably, because it's all based on our own interests, isn't it? This top 10 really sums up my main interests and styles of games I like. Anyway, my number 8, Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution in this case, which is the sort of follow-up to Virtua Fighter 4. Stunning game, absolutely beautiful. I picked this up quite recently because I thought I had it. I was amazed I didn't. I'm still convinced I owned it, and I might find it one day and I'll end up with 2 of them. But anyway, love Virtua Fighter. You can't really go wrong with it if you like your 3D fighters. It's the best bar none for me. So again, I felt I had to include this, even though it started life on the Saturn and the Dreamcast. Obviously it progressed and it looks a lot nicer on the PS2. Stunning game, Virtua Fighter 4. Number 7. Again, I had this from new, and it's Auto Modellista. Arcade racer by Capcom, of all people. But it's just got the most stunning cel-shaded graphics. It looks incredible. Don't understand why there aren't more cell shaded games because they look awesome, they don't age, and they still look sensational to this day. And so does this. It's just, again, it's one of these I haven't played in years and years, but it just blew me away at the time. Absolutely loved it, played it to death, completed it. I've got to put it in my list. That's Auto Modellista. Right, number 6. This is it? Yeah, number 6. This is a more modern entry into my PS2 library, and it's Shenryu. First discovered this on the Saturn, absolutely loved it, and this is kind of a double pack on the PS2. Japanese exclusive. No, it isn't, I'll tell a lie. You can get this PAL and it's cheap, called Steel Dragon. Is it Steel Dragon? Yeah, Steel Dragon, absolute bargain. If you like shmups, buy Steel Dragon now, it's absolutely brilliant. One of my favourite shooters since I've been into shooters, honestly. This is kind of what kick-started me off, really. It's the first one I sort of felt, wow, this is brilliant. Stunning. So I'm chuffed to, I just love playing it. You know, I'm just chuffed to play it. Whatever I play it on, PS1, Saturn, PS2, it's just amazing. I had to put that in there. Number 5. Time Crisis 2. Another mega arcade light gun game in this case. I'm sure you all know what Time Crisis is. They're all fantastic for me. There's a few different ones on the PS2. There's Time Crisis 3, and then there's the PAL only Crisis Zone, is it? So pick whichever one you will. I picked Time Crisis 2 because I had this from new back in the day, and again, stunning game, had to include it. Number 4. This is the last of the more modern entries in my top 10. And along with Shenryu, this series has firmly become my favourite in the shmups. So that's probably give it away to most people. So I'm talking about Raiden 3. Love Raiden, except 5, that's shit. Raiden 3 on the PS2. Stunning. Not cheap, unfortunately, these days, but what a game. It's just, I don't know what it is about Raiden and Shenryu. They've got some kind of magic that other shooters haven't got for me. I don't know what it is, can't sort of describe it, put my finger on it. They've just got something others haven't. So, Raiden 3 is my number 4 pick. Number 3, into the top 3 now. This might not be expected in anybody's top 10, but it's in mine. Again, had this from new, didn't even know anything about it really when I bought it. I just bought it because I liked the subject matter, and there were very few games available at the time when the Jap Machine came out, and this happened to be one of them. It was very close to launch. But I absolutely loved it. Played it to absolute death. It's a golf game. Golf Paradise, I think it's called. Or I'm sure it was Golf Paradise. I'm pretty sure anyway. Now this is available on PAL, and obviously because it's a sports game, it's dirt cheap. It's probably £1 or less. It's called Swing Away Golf. And it's a very arcadey style, everybody's golf game. It's brilliant. I absolutely loved it. I played it non-stop, and completed it. I'm sure there was a way. I think there was like a world tournament, like, and it went over like year on year. I'm sure I got to the end, and there was a lot. Sure there's a big trophy list. If I remember. Anyway, whatever. It was brilliant. Still love a round on this from time to time. just a stunning game. And if you like I say, if you like your cutesy arcade golf games, that's a must. Number 2. Can you guess? Now this was, again, I think this was a launch game. I'm sure I had this when I bought the console. Ridge Racer 5. Another absolutely belting game. I mean, I love Ridge Racer in any form. But this was kind of on parallel with getting Ridge Racer on the PS1. When I got my machine, got this, I literally played nothing else until I got that golf game. It's just stunning, and that's still look and play stunning to this day, in my opinion. It's just, you know, please Namco, make another Ridge Racer. Right, number 1. Has anybody guessed what my number 1 PS2 game is? It's Sega Rally 2006. And you might be thinking, there's a specific reason this is my number 1. It's a nice box set. And although it comes with Sega Rally upside down 2006, which is the main game, it comes with a bonus disc of the original Sega Rally. I've just made myself another one, so as I haven't got to keep opening that one. Yeah, so it comes with this, a bonus disc of the original Sega Rally, and this for me is the best game on the PS2. Absolutely stunning. I know it kind of contradicts what I said at the start in the fact that it was obviously started as an arcade and it was on the Saturn, but to me this feels like a different game because it's just like the arcade. It improves on the Saturn version in every way, which is amazing in itself, but this is sensational. If you like Sega Rally, this is the best way to play it unless you can afford an arcade machine. And for me, without doubt, 100%, it is the best game on the PS2. That's Sega Rally, the original enhanced version. Exclusive to Japan, unfortunately, which is not ideal if you don't collect Japanese games. But if there's some way you can play it, honestly, do yourself a favour and get yourself Sega Rally on the PS2 because it is amazing. And that's my top 10. Very different to everybody else's, no doubt. Everybody's would be different. That's just mine and the style of games I like. But let me know what you think in the comments. Be good to hear from you. And I'll stick a link in the description to Generation Pixel Stu's original video. Go check that out if you've not seen it already. And thanks for watching. I'll see you all shortly here. Being well. Sayonara.